Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Sick Part 2 here, joined by Steve Axie and that Matt Killer.
Oh.
For another episode of Ghouly Gentlemen Horror Month. I always love doing those intros. Ruins my throat for the rest of the episode, but you know.
I've got a question before we get anywhere. Does that Matt Killer, is he a killer named Matt, or do you exclusively kill guys named Matt?
It would definitely be that second one. Every other Matt I've met fucking sucks.
I read a meme once where it's like you can walk up to any random white woman and say, "I'm sorry for what Matt did to you," and 75% of the time you'll get a hit.
That was the fucking inspiration for Scott Pilgrim, because Brian Lee O'Malley's girlfriend had dated like 3 different guys named Matt. That's why the first evil X is Matthew Patel.
That's so good. Fuck Matts. Am I right,
Dude,
Matt?
Fuck all other Matts. But oh my god, it's to quote one of the great cinematic characters of the late 20th century, Misa back, and thank you for having me.
I missed you so much.
That's such a good intro. I'm gonna use that so much now.
Oh my god.
It's a bad bumper. Squeeze me. Oh, woo. All right. So anyway, this is not Jar Jar Night. This is a review of what film tonight, Matt?
We are reviewing Silent Hill, the movie from 2006, directed by Christoph Gans and written by Roger Avery. I wanted to talk about it because Silent Hill is like kind of having a moment right now. Konami is attempting this whole redemption arc with Silent Hill 2 remake, and then Silent Hill F, which just came out last month. Both of them I played to death, and both of them I thought were very, very good. And now we have Return to Silent Hill, which is going to be a new Silent Hill movie, also directed by Christoph Gans, and that's coming out like next year in January. So they clearly don't have a lot of faith in it. But that is going to be sort of adapting Silent Hill 2 in the same way that this movie is an adaptation of the first Silent Hill with elements from Silent Hill 3. And with
Damn, that's a belated ass sequel. 20 years.
I know. Well, I mean, this movie did get a sequel, Silent Hill Revelation, but the less said about that, the better. But Silent Hill is kind of on my mind right now, and I thought it would be fun to talk about it. And I don't really know what level of familiarity anyone else here has with this franchise, so I thought it would be cool to...
I know exactly one thing about Silent Hill, so you will not interrupt me as I do my contribution to this episode, which is, with the limited ability of consoles to render things in the distance, there was often fog in early 3D video games, and Silent Hill is very famous for utilizing the fog in order to help with the atmosphere and storytelling. So it was really fun to see that integrated into the film. Okay, that's it for me.
Oh my god. Thank you, Did You Know Gaming. I appreciate that.
That's all I got. That's it. So anyway, no, but that's literally all I knew about Silent Hill besides just like generally horror game. I wasn't sure what to think going into this one because, oh man, those 2000s like it wasn't great post 2010s, but it was never good in the 2000s for a video game adaptation.
Right.
So this was actually quite surprising to see just how well it all turned out. I don't know if it was faithful, but it actually watches like a fucking movie, so it's got that going for it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I want to get Steve's general thoughts, but I will say, because I don't want to make this whole thing a compare-contrast exercise because that would be boring, but it's like watching an American remake of a Japanese horror movie, but like one of the better ones. It's like watching The Ring, where you can sort of feel the America on it, but what's here is not necessarily bad, but there are some things that are lost in translation. But I think most people would agree, especially at the time this was made, that this is probably one of the better video game adaptations. And I think at the time it released, it was considered probably the best video game movie. Now there's a little bit more
after Super Mario Brothers,
of course.
Yeah,
that
of course.
So yeah, it's
Steve, what are your general thoughts on it?
So it's interesting that you say that it's considered one of the better video game movies, because I feel like for my entire life, all I've ever heard is that this movie is bad, and maybe that was my fault for like listening to the wrong people and having the wrong expectations. But I don't know, man. I really loved this. I thought this was great. I had such a good time with this. I feel like the Ring comparison is spot on, because that's exactly what I was thinking the whole time, where it's got this early digital camera cinematography. It's got this early use of CGI that's actually kind of thinking about how it changes the mood of the movie. It's got a really good sense of its own unique horror that doesn't just rely on jump scares basically the entire time. And like The Ring, it's faithful enough to like a really basic conceit, but if you don't know anything about the original game, I feel like it doesn't hinder you at all. And the only thing that's really lost, I feel like, as far as like from Japanese to America, is I feel like the American characters in this, the husband and wife pair, and then the daughter, I think the husband and the wife are both extremely underwritten. But I'm kind of okay with that, because she's just kind of a vehicle to explore the town of Silent Hill, and everything inside the actual town's amazing. And the movie also doesn't seem to care very much about that, because we're basically in the town like 10 minutes into the movie. Like the whole opening feels like you're watching the credits of the video game roll in front of you, and then the game actually starts when she gets to the town.
Yeah,
yep,
for sure. And that's pretty much, I mean, how the game starts. The game doesn't even have the preamble. The game just starts with, because in the game you're playing as her father. You're playing as a character named Harry Mason, and he just wakes up in his car. He's on the side of the road. There's fog everywhere. Cheryl, which is the name of the girl in the game, they changed it to Sharon for, I'm sure, a good reason. And
for a reason.
For a reason. I don't know what, but and he follows after her, and then you pretty much start and you're going. So this game, or this movie, kind of does that with the just getting the preamble out of the way. I would say, like, I'm in agreement that I do think that this is actually pretty good. I like this movie a lot for what it is, and I think Christoph Gans like clearly loves Silent Hill, and he went through like pains. Feel of Silent Hill, like that opening where she's going down the alleyway and it transitions to the other world, and there's like the chains and the fences and the body on the fence. Like, he'll replicate actual shots from the game in the way that that's all presented and put together. And so it's really cool to see that, but then he's also at the same time not afraid to kind of put his own spin on it and kind of condense and change certain things in the story, I think, to make it fit the movie format better. Because I think Silent Hill is one of those things that would be difficult to get a one-to-one adaptation, because so much of it is just you walking around the town with not another fucking soul in sight to talk to or exposit to or share any dialogue with. So I feel like it would be difficult to adapt that. So by bringing in more of the cultist characters and having there be a little bit more back and forth there, I think he kind of navigates around that a little bit. But I'm glad that everyone generally had a good time with it, because I was worried that people would not.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is like I'm mostly desensitized to horror a lot of the times, but after watching this one Sunday night and just like all the lovely, lovely imagery in it, I was like, okay, I can't go right to bed. I need to watch something to like cool down from that, because just like, oh man, you talked about the early CG, and yeah, you can tell it's CG in retrospect, but like it just lends itself so well to just how creepy and fucked up everything is when she first goes into that area with the chain link fence, and like the fucking melted face things are chasing after her and shit. Oh god, that just fucked me up right from the start. Then it just only gets worse from there.
That's kind of what's so cool about the movie to me, is it's all the early CGI stuff and then some of the early practical effects stuff. It's not really concerned with making things look as realistic as possible. It's kind of got like this sort of uncanny quality where that's part of the effect, where the second you fall into the town, you can already tell that things look a little bit different, things look a little bit unhinged, and if it was just bad CGI, it'd be distracting. But it's the kind of like heightened reality and just not quite realistic enough creatures that it actually really works for the mood. There's so many moments where it feels like it's almost like she's walking through like a rear projected set where everything behind her is clearly not there, but it is there, and it feels kind of dreamlike. I love all of that. And then when you get to those really particular like high demand effects where like she's in the bathroom in that one scene, and then as night turns you see like all the blood and everything peel off the walls and shit, because you're so like in the mood of the movie by that point. Even if someone like took a screenshot and said to me this looks bad, I'd be like, no, in that moment this is sick as hell.
Yeah, no, the way the walls peel and everything is just fucking terrifying.
So cool.
Yeah.
Anytime we get that transition from like kind of just the fog world to the other world where everything is just fucked beyond belief, because that's the thing that Silent Hill 1 I think has the most over the other games in the series, is just how decrepit and just horrific everything looks. And when she's in the bathroom and you've got that whole scene with the janitor guy who starts crawling out, like it's so
that's so creepy.
And that's original too. The Colin is the name of the janitor. That whole sequence where she pulls the thing out of his mouth and then it transitions and he's like dragging himself along, that's all original to the movie. And that is what like tells me that these guys at least get Silent Hill pretty well, because that feels like visually, the imagery on display, the way it's set up, and then the way it then comes back when it transitions to the other world, like that feels like something that would be in a Silent Hill game. So like it's cool to see that they not only get it, but they're able to like meaningfully contribute to the aesthetic of it and make something original that feels like it fits. That whole sequence is like probably the freakiest part in the whole movie for me.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. It was interesting because shortly after that you get Pyramid Head, and he's probably like the most famous character from Silent Hill, but he doesn't really like, I don't know, it's weird. He doesn't seem to like fit in the same way that all of the other ghost characters, I guess I'd call them, or whatever the fuck, do. Like all of them seem to fit some kind of purpose around what happened to Sharon's mother. Like, so you got the nurses that were like there taking care of her at the hospital, and you got like the janitor that assaulted her, the teachers in the school, blah blah blah. But Pyramid Head's just kind of like around and carrying his sword with his, I think they're supposed to be roaches. I had a hard time telling if they're supposed to be roaches or rats at first. So like could you just describe for me, like, what Pyramid Head's deal is? Because all I know is just a meme of Pyramid Head standing in front of a clock, but every instead of numbers on the clock, it just says rape, 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 and then he's like, "Oh, look what time it is."
Oh, that's
so I've never really like comprehended what Pyramid Head's whole deal is.
So-
Wait, Matt. Before you explain what Pyramid Head actually means, because you know the real answer, can I just real quick say what I think I thought he was doing in the movie symbolically, given that I have no idea what he's like in the games?
Yes, I would love that, actually.
All right, cool. Because Ian, I was with you for a minute, because like when he first showed up, that was the big thing that took me out of the movie. I'm like, oh yeah, that's that video game guy with the pyramid head. What's his name? Oh yeah, Pyramid Head.
The triangle face.
So that took me out a little bit, because I'm like, I don't really know what he's doing here. But as the movie went on and we got more of an explanation about like what exactly Silent Hill was and who these people were and all of that, he started to seem more to me like the symbol of the woman who was trying to manipulate everyone in the town. That he is essentially like the embodiment of like an executioner, where everywhere he goes there's like pestilence and bugs and everything, and he's just swinging this sword around trying to kill anyone that gets in his way. And he sort of felt like the monster manifestation of what that woman was doing spiritually in a real literal sense. And I really like the part where they're backed into that room and he's like trying to bust through the door and he keeps slashing his sword through and the bugs start coming in little by little. And then when you get to the end of the movie and then everyone in that church just gets eviscerated, they're essentially like running around like bugs in that room until the monsters kill them all. So I don't know how cogent that reading is ultimately, but I do kind of like Pyramid Head in this movie. Is just like he's like the cream of the cream, bad, evil force that's just a representation of what's happened to everybody in this town.
Yeah, that is you're actually like shockingly on the money with that. That is kind of what Pyramid Head represents in the game. Here's where and this is a good transition into one of the complaints that you will get from Silent Hill fans about this movie, because Ian, you hit on it pretty well when you were talking about the monsters. You know, all the monsters throughout Silent Hill are always meant to reflect the fears and traumas of whoever's sort of psyche is being projected onto the town. So with Alessa in this movie, you know, you've got the janitor who then comes to life. You've got the gray children from the beginning who are like the school kids who made fun of her, which we see in flashback. And you've got the nurses who are like the nurses who were, you know, taking care of her. The problem is that Pyramid Head does not come from Silent Hill 1. He comes from Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill 2 is telling a very different story. And Pyramid Head, in the context of Silent Hill 2, does represent a sort of executioner figure. And the rape a clock joke is because the first time you really get a good introduction to Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2, he is what appears to be impotently pantomiming a sexual assault against one of the other just lesser monsters. And there is a reason for that, and I can't really get into it without talking about Silent Hill 2 and spoiling Silent Hill 2 and getting into all of that. There is a reason for that. The problem is that Pyramid Head became iconic from Silent Hill 2. The nurses are in Silent Hill 1, and they're also in Silent Hill 2. However, the nurses in Silent Hill 1, they just look like nurses. They're just zombie nurses. In Silent Hill 2, they're these pin-up, you know, they have like very visible cleavage and they're wearing like super tight, skimpy attire. And again, there's a reason for that. There's a lot of these like psychosexual, like repression, frustration themes in Silent Hill 2. So that's why Pyramid Head sexually assaults other monsters. That's why the nurses look like pin-ups. So then, when they're making this movie, they're like, all right, well, Pyramid Head is iconic, and the Silent Hill 2 nurses are iconic, so we're going to put them in this movie. They kind of don't belong, though. Now, Pyramid Head, you can probably make him work, because he's just kind of an amorphous figure. It does bother me that the nurses are sexy, because it makes no sense for Alessa to think of the nurses as sexy. But it does make sense for James Sunderland, the protagonist of Silent Hill 2. It makes sense for him. So there are a few things like that where it's hard for me to know if any of that feels weird to people who are not thinking about the games. So I might just be too close, but that is something that definitely bothered me a little bit.
I didn't realize that sexy nurses was part of Silent Hill 2, because I remember the scene in the movie where the nurse shows up and she's a really sexy nurse, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess in the 2000s we just did this to women in movies and just moved on from there. I didn't realize it was a reference.
It's a straight line from this to Harley Quinn in Arkham Asylum, and there we go.
Right, exactly.
So it's weird to me, but again, if you're not familiar with it, I don't know if that's distracting.
I didn't really think too much of it. I think I'd seen the images of the sexy zombie nurses in the past, and like, I guess to an extent it does kind of make sense to include, even if they're from a different game, if it's like the iconic image of the series, right. Or an iconic image from the series. You don't know if you're ever going to get a second movie, so like, you know, you might as well just try to get that shit on film. Like, there's nurses in it, you know, fucking close enough. Would kind of be the way I would think of it, at least personally, but you know.
I mean, especially in 2006, where, like, even with, like, superhero movies and stuff, we were just throwing everything into one movie because you never thought you were going to get a second one. Like, the 2003 Daredevil movie, it's just the entire Frank Miller run in 2 hours.
Yeah, and, like, I think that, you know, even if it fails, at least it failed trying something as opposed to, you know, oh, we've got to build a whole universe out of this, so we can't, like, you know, actually tell a story in one movie anymore, and yada, yada, yada. So, like, I think it does make sense to just kind of go balls to the wall with it. You know, you look back at, you brought up the superhero example, the first thing that comes to mind for me is, like, fucking Fleischer Superman cartoons. Well, we'll probably never get adapted to anything else ever, so let's really go hard on this. And in doing so, you know, there's an argument, not necessarily a good one, but there's an argument that, like, those cartoons endeared Superman to generations in a way that the comics never could. Because those were, you know, played in front of movies for years and years and stuff, and played on TV a bunch. So it's got, you know, the potential to reach that wider audience and, like, just become, you know, the thing that it's known for, and really just kind of win over people. So I'm not a fan of the games. I've never played the games, so it's not really for me to say. I could understand the criticism, but if I were the one making the movie, I think I would make the same call.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's probably exactly what they were thinking. And I don't begrudge them that at all. Especially, like I said, with Pyramid Head, it works a little bit more easily because there's really, you can just kind of put him in there if it's totally separate. And, like, he rips a chick's skin off, and that's just cool. Like, I can't get mad at it, for sure.
Pyramid Head is also, I think, sorry, just to kind of harp on this point one more time. He's also, like, the most iconic horror movie monster that's not a movie monster, you know? Like, everyone, I would think everyone knows Pyramid Head about as well as they know Pinhead from Hellraiser, right? So it's, if you're in, like, 2006 territory and you're not far removed or not far away from, like, Freddy vs. Jason, or the about to release the Rob Zombie Halloween sequels, or the remake of Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street, or any of that, it would be cool to have a new iconic slasher movie monster release that around that era, and Pyramid Head kind of fits the bill perfectly.
Yeah. He's got the quick name and everything, and just, like, real iconic fucking look.
You could literally never forget his name. It's a pyramid for a head.
I don't know if he ever...
Triangle face.
I don't know if he ever made it into, like, what is that fucking horror game, like Dead by Daylight or whatever? If he's not in there, he should be. But yeah, no, he's very cool in this. Really, I think most of the stuff that they translate from the games works really well. There's one big thing that I think doesn't get translated from the game, and I'm kind of curious where your thoughts are on this, because you guys, have a big film history as well as I do, but like, the games are really heavily inspired by three things, and that's Jacob's Ladder, Twin Peaks, and the work of Stephen King. The first game was prototyped as a adaptation of The Mist. And so, if there's one thing that did not get brought over to the movie, that I think is the reason people who like the games sometimes don't like the movie, is because what it lacks is that dreamlike surreality where everyone acts kind of strange and stilted and nobody reacts to things like a normal person. That is very much how the games work. They're very Lynchian in that way. And I know Christoph Gans said he was looking at Jacob's Ladder when he was making this movie as an influence, and I'm just kind of like, where is the Jacob's Ladder? Because I don't see it.
I don't see Jacob's Ladder at all, but I definitely see The Fog, the John Carpenter movie. Like,
yeah,
because you mentioned The Mist, that's a good one too. I guess that makes a lot more sense. But I just watched The Fog again recently. But with what you're talking about, with like the way the mist makes people behave strangely like they do in the games, the fog does a very similar thing in that movie with Silent Hill, where there's two times of day. There is the time of day where things are normal and people are out and about, and then there's the fog arrives and things get weird and horror themey. In Silent Hill, they just happen to be flipped, where the foggy exterior is during the day when things are normal, and then the fog lifts when everything is getting crazy and bloody and you're basically in the Doom world for whatever reason. But what I do really like about the comparison there between like David Lynch and John Carpenter in this is what I said before about the way that the effects work and everything is kind of surreal, where every time What's-Her-Face is walking through the town and it's the middle of the day, there's always all this gray fog, there's always all this ash falling, but it never quite feels like it's falling on her. It never quite feels like she's interacting with the background. And that's not in a way that feels like it's distracting or bad. It feels like it's in a way where there is this really sharp disconnect between what this world is and where this person is coming from. And that kind of helps the fact that it feels so strange and odd. And then when all the characters start showing up in the morning, the people that she interacts with, they all feel very much like they are in the world, that they're interacting with things around them, even though that actress never feels like she does. And so it's almost like she's the player, and you're watching this movie and you're just seeing all these NPCs inhabit the world, but you can only like visually only get so close to them.
I will say I thought that there was quite a bit of distance between the characters trapped there and her. The problem, like it is and it isn't. I think the only problem with that is the interaction she has with the police officer, the fact that those two kind of like team up and yada yada. I think that's the only thing that might create that feeling of not being isolated, not being like kind of stuck in a nightmare. Because everyone else is acting like, almost like 17th century kind of shit. Like she lost her daughter. It's like sinners deserve to lose their spawn or whatever. It's like, just who the fuck talks like that? You disappeared in the 70s, not in the fucking 1600s. But like, yeah, if you've only been reading the same Bible verses over and over again for 30 years or whatever by that point, yeah, that would do it. So like, I think that all works. I think the thing that's just becomes the outlier is the cop, who is introduced for like her own purposes to help move the story along, but that might be just the thing that detaches it. Because I'm assuming you don't get a cop friend in the game.
Yeah, Sybil Bennett is in the game, but you basically meet her early on, and then she kind of fucks off. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go figure out a way to get out of this town and get help. You stay here." And Harry, the player character in the game, is obviously not going to do that because he's trying to find his daughter. And then Sybil doesn't show up again until later, and she ends up mind controlled because the cult storyline is pulled from the game. The cult is a little different in the game. It's a little bit more esoteric, and Alessa's mother, Dahlia, is actually also the leader of the cult, whereas in this, they decided to make Alessa's mother and the leader of the cult two different characters, and they made it more of this, like, you know, Puritan burning the witch type thing. And that's what I kind of meant when I said you can kind of feel the America on it, and that's where it kind of gets that sort of like Ring remake. There are certain things that feel a little bit more, I guess, in your face than they play in the game. But again, that's where I have to say, like, okay, but it's not a problem for the movie itself. Like, it still works. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you guys are on it. The way that there seems to always be this disconnect between the two lead characters and the cult. Like, you feel like these two are always talking past each other. In that sense, I think it does kind of feel like Silent Hill. It's more just in that the main characters still react to things in a way I would expect a normal person to, and that's weird for Silent Hill. You know, everyone in Silent Hill reacts to things like a bizarre dream person, because that's kind of what's happening to an extent.
And that's
it works for this.
That's maybe the thing that I feel like I wish they went a little harder on, because it almost feels like when you mention that the mother and the priest lady are the same character in the game, it does almost feel like they're pulling out their punches just a little bit by making them separate characters here, so that they can kind of keep the themes of it a little bit less personal, that there can always be like this external force you can blame instead of it being something that's more homegrown. And that seems like really classic for a lot of American movies. But the other thing about it that seems a little bit strange is the ending. When you mentioned David Lynch, the ending feels really esoteric and David Lynchy, where come home, but do they really? And I feel like that ending is so good and so haunting, and the whole rest of the movie, as good as it is, doesn't have that same energy.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I actually love the way that the movie ends, and I think
it's fantastic. Yeah.
I do think you have a good point as well about externalizing the threat of the leader of the cult, because I know a big thing that Gans wanted to do was make this a real, like, female story about motherhood, and that's why he swapped out Harry Mason for Rose Da Silva to have the mother character. But it's weird that you would do that and then also make Dahlia Gillespie, Alessa's mother, a much more minor character than she is in the original story.
Yeah, but you just get the most, like, devastating callback line in return for that. Like, why would she leave me alive? Because in the eyes of the child, mother is God in the eyes of the child. And then just walking away. Yeah. Fuck, that was cool.
No, that was great.
This is interesting. We've stumbled into accidental theme in Geeky Gentlemen, so I think I know what my pick's gonna be when I do a review, and we'll see if Steve wants to keep the theme going. Because, like, just the fact that it's, you know, last week we did The Monster, where it's a mother and daughter in a very, like, Cujo situation, and this week we got a mother and daughter in a very, like, different situation, but still very much intentionally playing on that dynamic. So I think I'm just going to pick Aliens, and Steve can round us out with something else.
Yeah, no, that line is really good, and but like we were saying, like what Matt was said before, because the game is about motherhood, or the movie, because the movie has that motherhood theme, there does sort of feel like that there's something missing a little bit in the main character's relationship to her daughter, because she feels like such like a hollow vessel for exploring the town. And then you've got these two other female characters that are sort of like the mother and then the principal antagonist separated out. It creates this situation where it feels like there's less self-implication or self-incrimination in the way the character is dealing with being in this town. Because I feel like the biggest problem with this movie is, at the end of the day, I don't think that the character we're following is the character that's actually having the arc or the story that's happening to them. It's really kind of everybody else that's having the story happen to them, and we're just kind of watching it from a distance, which is cool in some respects. But when you by the time you get to that exposition dump that happens in a really really cool way in that strange filter where you're watching all of the like that old news clipping style, that's really cool. But by the time you get to that exposition dump, I feel like the main character Sharon, she's got very little going on for her emotionally, and she's got very little going on for her as far as the stakes of the movie go, because she's just here to save her daughter, and she's learning through these characters what her daughter's backstory is, but there's very little there about what is her relationship to her daughter aside from it being her daughter, or what's the impetus for her being adopted, and what's their relationship like, and what was she thinking in those moments, and what does learning all this stuff about her history do to the rest of that relationship.
Yeah, I almost think you could have, because in the movie we keep cutting back to the husband character, Sean Bean.
Yeah.
And he's kind of going on this quest to not only find Rose, but also to find out more about their daughter. And he's like going to this orphanage, and he's finding about like her adoption, almost like I'm watching like The Omen or some shit.
Right.
And I think that that's potentially interesting, but I wonder if that's time that could have been better spent. I mean, I don't usually like to advocate for more flashbacks and things, but I wonder if that's time that could have been better spent exploring the actual like relationship between Rose and Sharon, and because then you could have had that really interesting sort of compare contrast between Rose's relationship with the adopted daughter Sharon, and then Dahlia's relationship with her actual flesh and blood daughter Alessa. And I think that could have been brought more to the forefront. Because if you're already saying, like, I want to make a movie about motherhood, I mean, make a movie about motherhood then.
I mean, I think there's still a lot there, but you might be right. They could have gone a little bit harder with it. I found it interesting when you were saying that the game, your male character POV and stuff,
Yeah.
and then, like, thinking about Sean Bean having a relatively minor role in this film. It kind of made me wonder for a second if they initially planned to make a more direct adaptation, but then decided to explore some of those motherhood themes. So maybe they were like kind of maybe it's possible that they were kind of already far along enough into production that they couldn't do quite as much a finessing of the script. I don't know, like, because it just feels such like an oddball casting for the limited screen time and just like the limited stuff that Sean Bean gets to do. It's not like he was, you know, a fucking nobody actor
Right.
by '06. You know, that's kind of the prime of his career, more or less.
It makes you wonder
weird.
if there's a bunch of deleted scenes or something with him.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
He just doesn't get much to do. Like especially, you know, it's a good enough scene or whatever, but like when the sheriff runs him out of town, he's just kind of there and just kind of accepts it and just doesn't feel like you needed Sean Bean for that.
I will
It's like, what do you mean I don't die in the horror movie? What the fuck, guys?
what are we even doing here? I will say it's funny to me that like Sean Bean. So Sean Bean is in this movie, and then Silent Hill Revelation, which is the much less charitably viewed sequel, has Kit Harington in it. So like Return to Silent Hill. I don't know. They better get fucking Emilia Clarke to play Mary or something. Otherwise, like we need to round out. We need to round out the trilogy. No, baby Kit Harington in Silent Hill Revelation is fucking insane. But yeah, no, I know. I should probably verify this before I start saying shit, but I believe I read somewhere that Christoph Gans said at one point they had a version of the script that had no male characters in it whatsoever, and that Konami told them no.
Oh dang.
So I don't know, because like Sean Bean would have been good casting if you were gonna do Harry Mason and just do the main character from the game. I think he would have. I mean, he's Sean Bean. He would have been fine no matter what. But I agree that it's weird that he's such a small part that doesn't even really get anything in terms of like he doesn't even get any like you were saying, like powerful moments. Like I think the most tragic scene he gets is just kind of that like melancholy ending is maybe the most emotional stuff he has to work with in this movie.
That's kind of the tension of the whole thing, because I feel like as far as video game movies go and as far as horror movies go, especially by this period, this movie is very experimental in a lot of ways. And then at the same time, it's not very experimental at all when you get to like the stuff like Sean Bean. So like it's trying to couch all of its risky choices in something that feels a lot more linear and safe. But by doing that, it undercuts the stuff about it that's otherwise interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like that's maybe a little harsh, but, you know, if that's your takeaway. Because I only really get to any kind of, like, negativity about the film if we start, like, really going into it. But just the experience while watching it, this is fucking great.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this. This is, like, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I didn't get the chance to pipe up on it because we discussed last week how in horror movies there's that fine line between telling the story and getting us to like empathize and care about the characters we're following, so we're not just waiting for them to die, and having the fucking spooky shit that you're there for actually happen in the film. So you're not just playing the oh no, we're building anticipation game the whole time. So this, I think, threads it really, really well, where you get the really spooky, scary shit throughout the film, peppered in, and there is, like, quite an escalation to it, to the point where you get to the church, and, like, arguably one of the most satisfying kill these fuckers moments, because like you literally see, it's not like, oh, they could have changed, or oh, they didn't really deserve this. No, they literally burnt that lady alive. You watched her face fucking cook.
Dude, I know.
That was so fucked up, and so good to see. Yeah, no, go ahead, send the barbed wire right down the fucking center. Like she looks up to God, she's like, help me stay pure. Like, oh fuck, fucking earned that one.
Dude, I mean, it's actually like such an effective use of like really grotesque gore, because like, yeah, Sybil getting like cooked alive is pretty wild, and in the flashbacks when we see Alessa getting cooked, and like when he goes up to her,
when they get her out of the thing, and she's just like barbecued, it's like, oh fuck, man.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this feels like so grotesque and over the top, but then you get to that ending, and Alessa on the bed with like tentacles of barbed wire, that is sort of kind of a little bit pulling from Silent Hill 2, just a smidgen, but it's doing its own thing with it, and I think it's so creative and so effective, and just seeing it whip around, and the death of I don't even remember the bitch's name, but the priestess of the order, seeing her get taken out in the, like, oof, like even I'm just like, you see the barbed wire go up her dress, and I'm just like, oh god. It's like watching fucking Evil Dead 1 with the trees, but somehow way worse.
Yeah, no. Because there's an interesting discussion, especially if you've got a film directed by a man, based on something that's, you know, generally considered more like for the boys video game, kind of like, especially horror video game. I'm sure there are girls that play it, but you know, it's just there's a stereotype for a reason. So like to play with those themes of like mother-daughter relationships, and to conceivably be trying for an all-female cast as a potentiality, is just there's a fine line to walk there, and there's discussion to be had about like the glorification of violence against women in horror in particular. That's a topic I've seen kind of floating around a little bit lately. So there's like a lot to kind of dig into there, but I don't know, just from what I've watched and my experience watching it, it felt like, even though that is very much punishing her in a way only a woman could conceivably truly be punished, it it felt like very earned and less about her being female and, you know, isn't it great to torture women, and more about just, man, this fucking bitch has this going.
Yeah.
Like, divorced from her gender as a character, just she's so awful and has it coming, and like she doesn't, every chance she's given to repent even just a little bit, to maybe get, you know, not redemption but maybe a little bit of mercy and a quick death, she just does not take, and she just keeps doubling down and getting worse and worse and worse, and she's only in like the last third of the fucking movie, and even then barely. And you just, like, how effectively that is written to make you just hate that character.
Oh, yeah.
Without her coming off as, like, cartoonishly evil, I think is really impressive.
It's a testament to how good she's written, and how well she's written, and how good the performance is from whoever is playing her. She's got this uptight, you know, religious, I'm never wrong attitude, so self-righteous, so holier than thou, and it just kind of drips off of everything she says, and it makes her so hateable. So she's got the most punchable face. Yeah.
She's really good. I think the standout as far as acting goes, though, is the woman that plays the little girl. Like, her demonic self when she shows up. And then there's that one scene where you see her close-up face after they're killing everyone in the church. She is terrifying.
She is.
Just the way she, like, climbs up the ladder and gets really close to the...
Yeah!
Dude, one of the shots that sticks with me so much is when she climbs up the ladder and she's getting close to the mother and the daughter, and Rose is, like, covering Sharon's face and is like, don't look. And then you kind of... The whole scene resolves. And then Rose slowly pulls her hand away from Sharon's face, and she is just staring straight at the camera, eyes wide open, and you're like, something has happened here. Like, some sort of merge, some sort of, like, it's so unsettling. And then from that point on, Sharon is just so, like, calm and quiet, and you're just like, oh, it's just unsettling, but you're so, like, it's so vague as to what's happening in it. And those are those moments where I'm just like, yeah, we're firing on all the Silent Hill cylinders. We're making something that feels affecting, that you can read in a bunch of different ways. That sequence has always really stuck out to me. And then that's when they walk out and they deliver the bookend line to Dahlia about Mother is God in the eye. Did they steal that from The Crow?
That is from The Crow. I don't know if The Crow started that or if that's just a thing people say, but it is definitely from The Crow.
I thought I heard it somewhere, but no, yeah, I agree. I love the chick who plays Alessa/Sharon.
And to your point too, of like at the end when it seems like something has happened there and it adds to the ambiguity. If you read that in part with the ending where they go back, but did they really come back? There is this sort of interesting idea of you take out all your vengeance on the people that abused you, and then after you go through this journey, is it even really possible to go back home anymore, or are you just fucked? And that's a really dour ending in that sense.
Yeah.
That was probably the thing that, like, it's very effective in, like, that haunting way. But just as an audience member, it felt like unfair to the the characters that went through this, because like they have nothing to do with the situation in the town. They're like, the girl is just born from the tragedy of what happened to her mother, and the lady just wants to take care of her adopted daughter. It felt a little dirty to just like leave them in this fucking, like, the slightly less fucked up version of this reality.
But you know what, though? Like, that's what I love about this and a lot of good horror movies, because I feel like horror movies, particularly like old slashers, but even a lot of new stuff, horror movies just aren't mean anymore, right? Like, they're cruel, but they're not mean. Yeah. They're always, like, trying to be moralistic and kind of Scooby-Doo with blood. But, like, if you take this ending for its word, and they really, truly are just stuck there, that's a fucked up way to end, and we don't do that anymore, and I'm kind of here for it.
Now you're right. I do agree. That is just like the worst place you could possibly leave the characters. And I guess it leads me into this question because, Matt, you said there's going to be another sequel. I'm guessing the original sequel didn't have any of the directors or anyone come back?
No. I think Roger Avery was in prison for manslaughter at the time.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. The guy who wrote this... Okay, so the guy who wrote this movie is Roger Avery. He is the co-writer, or one of the co-writers of, I think, Pulp Fiction. And at some point during his life, he gets sent to jail for accidental manslaughter. And I don't know if that...
Okay.
And I don't know if that was why he didn't come back for the sequel. I feel like I just dropped a bomb. No, Christoph Gans, he did not come back for the sequel. I think he was going to. I don't know exactly what happened.
Was he also in jail for manslaughter?
Probably not. I think he's fine because he's coming back for the third one. So probably not.
Okay.
So I'll keep this brief because this is more video game bullshit. What's interesting about the original Silent Hill trilogy is that Silent Hill 1, this is pretty close. There are still some things that are changed as far as the cult and what their goals are. That is very different, but like, it's close enough. Silent Hill 1
B plus.
Was that?
Like if you're giving a grade, maybe like a B plus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Silent Hill
Okay.
1 has this whole like cult storyline where it's Harry finding his daughter and then getting pulled into this whole cult situation. Silent Hill 2, which is generally considered the most important, most influential, most beloved Silent Hill game, has literally fuck all to do with the cult. It has nothing to do with it at all. Silent Hill 2 is just about a random guy, James Sunderland, who gets drawn to the town of Silent Hill, and then he gets confronted with his own demons. Like, it's his psyche that is being projected onto the town, not some other person's. And it's just a personal, character-driven story about James and his trauma and his guilt and his remorse and all of this stuff. It has literally nothing to do with any of this. Then Silent Hill 3 comes out, and Silent Hill 3, you play as a character named Heather Mason, who is this daughter character, Sharon or Cheryl in the games, but is all grown up now, and she is adopted a new name of Heather, and it is about her coming back to Silent Hill, trying to piece together what happened here, and then we pick up the story of the Order and the cult and all that stuff. So when they were making the sequel to this, they decided we're just going to jump straight to that. We're going to do Silent Hill Revelations, and Silent Hill Revelation, you have Heather, who is this little girl who somehow, I don't know how, somehow got out of Fog World, went back to Sean Bean, grew up into a teenager, adopted a new name, and then decided to come back to Silent Hill. It's very weird, and it doesn't make sense with the ending of this movie, so I kind of hate that they did it. But, so now we're going to do Return to Silent Hill, which presumably is going to ignore all of this, and is just going to tell the story of, again, I assume, James Sunderland. So, it's weird. And I don't really have anything to say about that, other than it's just kind of weird, and that's the situation we're in, as I can best explain it.
Okay.
So what you're saying...
That's what I was curious about.
So they skipped ahead to Silent Hill 3 when they did the sequel, and now they're going back and essentially doing Silent Hill 2. Does that... I guess that just makes me wonder, none of these movies are ultimately connected then, right? Because it sounds like Silent Hill Revelations retcons the end of the first movie, so it doesn't really feel like it's part of the same universe. And then if you're coming back and doing Silent Hill 2, and that's got nothing to do with anything that happens in Silent Hill 1, then presumably it's not really a sequel, it's just another Silent Hill movie, right?
Basically.
Okay.
Which is how I would prefer the franchise to continue. I mean, even the new game, Silent Hill F, it's like pretty disconnected, and it's just kind of like, here's another like sort of almost anthology story about some fucked up shit. And that's kind of how I would prefer Silent Hill. My curiosity is how they're gonna make Pyramid Head like stand out in Silent Hill, Return to Silent Hill, because like you used him in this movie, and then Silent Hill Revelation. I don't want to make this about Silent Hill Revelation, but I think this is funny. Silent Hill Revelation Terminator 2's Pyramid Head, where Pyramid Head gets summoned and is like a protector figure of the main character, and it's the fucking stupidest shit ever. And at some point in Silent Hill Revelation, Pyramid Head has a boss fight with another monster, like while protecting Heather. And and I know what you're thinking. That sounds awesome. It's not. It's not. Like, so I don't know, man. I feel like they've kind of fucked themselves for Return to Silent Hill, but they are bringing back Christoph Gans. I'll be curious to see it, but that's all I can really say about that without derailing this entire video. So
that's so funny, dude.
I just really want to see like the deleted scene of how they get out of Fog World. They're just like, oh, let's go to, like, oh, it's really foggy out there. Yeah, weird. Then let's go take a nap. Then they wake up. They're just in the house. She's like, how the fuck did you get here? Like, just what? How do you make that transition of no? They're fine.
They might. I don't know. They might explain it in the movie, but like I've only watched Silent Hill Revelation once, and I don't really want to watch it more times. So, but yeah, because like in the game, the cult's whole thing is that they burned and tortured Alessa, not to like purify her because she was born out of wedlock and all of this shit. It's an elaborate ritual to impregnate her with God. They are trying to summon God, and they are trying to house God in Alessa's body. And like it's
if I had a nickel.
Yeah, I know. I know, right? Like the cult in Silent Hill, the game, is much more esoteric and much more focused on like a mixture of Christianity, but with like kind of old pagan gods, and it's much more. It's just a very different thing. So I think with this, they were like, all right, let's simplify it a little bit, and I feel like it works. They also literalize the town a little bit more, because like Silent Hill in this, it's based off of Centralia, Pennsylvania, which is like a real life ghost town where there are these coal fires burning constantly underground. So Silent Hill in this movie takes place in West Virginia, which is why her car has Ohio license plates. Silent Hill in the game universe is in Maine. It's a tourist town. It's a failing tourist town. And it's not a ghost town. When people show up to Silent Hill and they enter the fog world, like people live in Silent Hill. Like it's a populated town. But when you get there and you enter this like fog dimension, you are completely obscured from them. They are completely obscured from you. And it leans into this more, is it a dream? What is it? Whereas this, they very concretely are like, all right, it's an abandoned town. It's a ghost town. They are in a separate dimension. It's much more concrete with its answers, while still allowing this like vague ambiguity at the end. So it's part of that Americanizing thing I was talking about, where it's like it feels a lot more in your face, but it still affords itself a level of ambiguity with that ending that I think works.
The more you say about the games, the more torn I get about some of the stuff, because I feel like the idea that the cult is trying to impregnate her with God, like thematically feels like it would make a whole lot of sense in this movie. But then at the same time,
well, they retcon it in Silent Hill Revelation to claim that that's what they were doing.
Oh, of course. So might as well just not be its own movie then. Yep. But then like the other stuff, like the idea that there's coal fires burning underground and it's dropping ash all the time. I really like that as this metaphor for all these people trying to practice righteousness, but they are literally just standing on top of hell the entire time. Mm-hmm. Like there's something to that also feels like very scary and weird and esoteric too. So I don't know. I feel like I just need to go play Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's also not ash, it's snow in Silent Hill. And no one knows why. That's a regular forum discussion. Why is it snowing in Silent Hill 1? And no one knows.
Because it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool because it looks cool.
Vibes.
Yes, I mean, literally.
If it's in Maine, I'm pretty sure Maine like never actually has summer.
Right, exactly. It's just cold and snowing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. No, I mean, I I would agree that like this is not a perfect movie by any means. It's certainly got like its weird things, but again, just like within the context of video game adaptation from the 2000s, name another one from that decade that like works half as well as this.
Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time with Jake Gyllenhaal, obviously.
Okay, first of all, that's 2010, different decade.
That movie, I don't want people to even for a joke think I like that movie. So. No, that movie sucks.
Back so hard.
Yeah, no, that movie's terrible, and it's a terrible adaptation of one of my favorite video games. But no, I agree. I think, especially at the time that this came out, like, yeah, no competition.
Honestly, I'm looking through the list of movies based on video games, and this might actually just be the best one for me.
I mean,
these are good.
Yeah. I like it better than I like it better than like the new fucking like Mario, and I like it better than all the Sonic movies. So like, yeah.
I like it better than all the Sonic movies. It's way better than Five Nights at Freddy's or Until Dawn or Uncharted. It's better than any of the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah. I think that's a really that's a really interesting point of comparison, is comparing this to the Resident Evil movies that were coming out in the 2000s, because this is painstaking in its attempts to at least be close to the games, and the Resident Evil movies cannot run away from that franchise hard enough.
The Resident Evil movies are very strange. It feels like every subsequent movie in that franchise is just trying to retcon itself into a new franchise, and it never quite works out.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm curious, unless anyone else has like a place they want to take this. One thing I did want to ask, because you guys aren't super familiar with the games, what did you think of Akira Yamaoka's score, the music?
I loved it.
Oh, did they just use the music?
Yeah,
from
they
the
just
game?
used the music from the game.
Oh, that's really cool. For me, it's rare that I can pay attention to the score and everything else going on at the same time.
Yeah.
None of it like stood out as misplaced. The music hits felt like they were well timed with the action going on screen, which is actually more impressive if they're just reusing the score from the game, because that means they had to film it and cut it to the music, whereas usually the music is, made to the way that the film's cut and everything, for a big Hollywood production. So I guess that makes it all the more impressive just how seamless and perfect it seems to fit with the action on film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the score. I mean, my favorite thing about the whole thing was just, it's a movie that lets itself have quiet moments and doesn't have a score when it doesn't need it. So when the music kicks in, it does actually hit more. There's a nice balance between like a traditional horror movie thriller score, and then in some scenes kind of like a noir vibe, where it's fairly like understated and kind of mysterious. I thought it was great.
Yeah, Akira Yamaoka's biggest point of inspiration when he was writing the score for the games was the score for Twin Peaks.
There we go.
I feel like you can hear that. Like that, oh god, I can't get over how good when you just hit play on the movie and you get that theme of Silent Hill with that like crazy like stringy guitar instrument. It's just so good. I do wonder again if they've kind of screwed themselves, because they don't just use music from Silent Hill 1, they also use a lot of iconic music from Silent Hill 2. Like there's a piano, there's a little quiet piano, like do like that's from Silent Hill 2, and that's like the iconic song from Silent Hill 2. So I'm just kind of like, I hope you didn't screw yourself over too much on that, but I think
again, it's been 20 years since they've made it, so like,
who's gonna well, it's what you were saying, like they had no way of knowing if they were gonna, so they're like, well, we have to use it because it's so good, we're not gonna not use it. So but I'm just kind of wondering about that, because like when you're playing the game and so much of the game is Harry running around the elementary school trying to put together puzzles, you just have time to sit there and like listen to the ambient music and listen to the music tracks that you do get when they kick in, and so I just wonder if some of that, I'm glad that like it's still able to kind of hit in a movie where it's a little bit more frenetic.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I just got the funny image of like, like those movie compilations that they'll put on YouTube of like, they'll take all the cutscenes from the game and stuff. And and it never feels right because like important action happens while you're playing the game, so you can't just watch the cutscenes. You need like some ideal version where they take only the important moments of gameplay and cut it in with the thing. I'm just imagining like what if they actually kept some of the puzzles from the game and just made like the actors do them in the movie. Like Pyramid Head's trying to cut through the fucking door and you're sitting there trying to put like slot A into B or whatever the fuck to build IKEA furniture.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
I mean, that's why
you gotta get the she's trying to get the bar out of the furnace. So it's like this really complicated like pattern that you have to do to get the bar removed.
Oh yeah. That's what I love. That's why I love that scene with the janitor corpse where she like pulls the thing out of his mouth. I'm like, yeah, I've definitely done something like that in a Silent Hill game. They kind of keep that element. It's there in spirit.
Daria, double Daria.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's so Silent Hill. One of the most iconic images in all of Silent Hill is when you walk in Silent Hill 2. You walk into a bar, the windows have all been papered over with newspaper, and there's writing in red that says, "There was a hole here, it's gone now." And like, these weird esoteric messages that just stick in your brain, that's so Silent Hill. I love that. That was so good. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been I could geek out about this franchise all day. But was there anything that you like, what frustrated you on the movie? Like any big negatives?
No, just two things left in my head. So obviously there's like a lot of like I'll talk about the important one first. There's a lot of like religious condemnation in this film. I wonder if the people making it are atheists or agnostic. I just got that vibe for some reason. So it was interesting to like kind of see that they were ready for that right out the gate. Like they kind of primed me for it, because just the very first scene with her sleepwalking, you're left with just this image of a lit up cross in the distance on a hill.
It's so good.
After they have their nap in the field, they walk back to the car and there's like, you know, big Bible message on a billboard kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because like they do that at like, you know, sunset or whatever, and then they drive to the gas station and it's nighttime, and then they drive into the town of Silent Hill, and that's where the fucking cop drops Sean Bean off later in the movie. I'm like, how far out of town did they drive his ass? This is like hours. I just thought that was interesting. But like they really do a lot to seed the idea of like there's going to be a lot of religious commentary in this movie. I don't recall what Bible quotes they're actually showing like on the billboard and stuff, but I'm sure that has a lot of significance to what they're trying to say with the movie and with the commentary on the hypocrisy and like just the shame or the lack of shame rather in religious communities. I thought, particularly in this day and age where, you know, people can say that they believe in Jesus, the lessons of Jesus Christ, but at the same time, no fucking foreigners in my country, and how dare you expect me to have empathy for anyone? Like just that hits particularly hard. The level of hypocrisy and lack of shame, I think maybe was what made this movie hit better now. I mean, this came out in 2006. We were still dealing with a lot of the same bullshit, but now it's much more in your face now. So that hit pretty damn well for me. Yeah. And then the second less important thing. So was it the cop with the burns on his hand that kicked Sean Bean out of town that grabbed her out of the church fire, or is that just a different guy?
That's the same guy.
I was like, he looks familiar, but I don't know if they did any like de-aging effect or something on him. It didn't hit for me whether or not it was like the same guy 100%.
Yeah,
so,
it's kind of
thanks for that.
Yeah, that whole scene is kind of shot like very like it's very like kind of visceral, and there's a lot of camera movement. So I could see that it doesn't totally play that's the same guy because it's kind of hard to make out.
Yeah. But no, I think that's all I had. Steve, did you have anything else with this film?
Not really. I mean, the only other thing, and I mentioned it on the top, is I really appreciate how this movie could be creepy and scary and kind of sneak up on you without an obsessive desire to throw jump scares on screen constantly. I was writing about the new Conjuring movie a few weeks ago, and my big soapbox I went on towards the end is a lot of people dismiss jump scares as lazy, and I don't think that's always fair because jump scares are effective. They scare you. They make you jump. That's what they're supposed to do. They're only lazy when they're coming from a perspective where the audience is scared, but they're not from the perspective of a character where they're seeing something. So like when a character is moving from one room to the other, and when they move, they unblock a creature that scares the audience, but that person in the movie has no idea is there. Like those are lazy jump scares. But when you do a jump scare right, you're doing it from the perspective of a character, and you both have the reaction to get them in their mindset. And this movie does that, where there's a lot of stuff that's creepy, that kind of sneaks up on you, that's freaky, but you're always with the main character in these moments looking at things that are scary. It's kind of like what I was saying before, where she's kind of an empty vessel. But the flip side of that that's good is because she's an empty vessel, she's always just having really honest reactions, and she's always put in situations where her reactions mirror your own. And so you're always just kind of taking on that role of like, when she freaks out and sees something gross, you freak out and see something gross. And that level of just like understanding on a fundamental level that the characters in your horror movie need to be scared of the things that you're scared of. That's not a lesson a lot of horror directors understand.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this covers pretty well for this film. So let's go ahead and go on to ratings then. I will give this 4.5 out of 5 maps that you have to memorize. That's not fair. If it were a video game, you would just pull it up in your inventory.
Especially in Silent Hill, which has like a super innovative map system in the games, but that's neither here nor there. But I did like that scene.
Is just out of curiosity, is the map pulled directly from the game? Like the layout, is it the same thing?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Not very innovative then, because I would have recognized the map for Haven City if you showed it to me.
Oh god.
All right. How about you, Steve? What would you rate this one?
I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 Pyramid Head with his army of roaches.
Nice. I'm gonna settle comfortably in between. I'll do 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. This is gonna make no sense to anyone here. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Lisa Garland. Lisa Garland is the nurse who is like Alessa's nurse. She's the like nurse dressed in a red cardigan who is like next to Alessa when we finally see her. She is a much more important character in the video game, and they kind of do her dirty. Pour one out for Lisa Garland. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 Lisa Garlands, because she has a very emotional role in the game. But oh well.
Gotcha.
Gotta cut stuff somewhere.
All right. Well, Steve, you seemed like you wanted to talk about something else the other day. Am I gonna fuck you up if I lean into the mother-daughter thing? Because I don't want you to be the odd man out. We could settle it too. It's fine.
No. The mother-daughter thing, I have something in mind for that too, so that's fine.
Okay. All right. So next time we're gonna do Aliens, and talk about the only good film in that franchise. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm your sick pot too.
I'm the Silent Hill erotica lover. That one's actually really true.
Just brutally honest.
Oh god. The people crave Pyramid Head, man. They crave him.
Why?
Dude, do you know how horny people are for Pyramid Head? It's insane. It is insane.
What? That is clinical. That someone should get those people help.
Dude, women be looking at Pyramid Head when he picks up the chick and rips her skin off in one movement and be like, oh, I wish you would do that to me. That's the level. That's what we're talking about, man.
I don't know, man. I'm so confused.
Used to have a girl at work who I'd like.
In
I
a
heard
sexy way,
that
you
she
know?
likes. I had a girl at work who I heard that she likes Predators. So I was like, oh, cool. I can talk to her about like how my favorite film of the franchise is Predators and stuff. She's like, oh no, I don't really like the movies. I really want to fuck.
That's
one.
what.
I'm like, oh, okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying, man. Like if you look at a predator pulling a dude's skull and spine out, and you think to yourself, "Hot," then Silent Hill is the right franchise for you.
Steve, you need to sign off.
Oh, okay, I guess I'm not the Silent Hill erotica lover.
And we are your ghouly gentlemen, and we will be dissecting things.